you're not feeling safe, it's up to you. However, you are free to leave whenever you want. It's a preschool. There's guards. There's fucking people over there.
But we're going to Empire, right?
Yeah, they're gonna be kids.
We can call food from there.
So I was in a completely new city with just one objective in mind.
Okay.
To record some approaches in a club. I was extremely nervous, not just because I had to do the approach,
Hello.
but because we had to smuggle these cameras inside the club, and there are these bouncers, the management of the club. Plus, it's an extremely new city, so if we land into trouble, there's no saving us.
Where were you before this?
And this is also the first time I'm doing this, so I had no prior experience, but I get my team somehow inside the place and we start recording those infields. Now my friend says, hey, why don't you just do that approach? Now this is the point where I look at the girl and the nervousness literally kicks in. I'm at the bar and I'm just thinking, how do I do this approach? Let me just do some crazy fun thing so I can pump up my own emotional state, because I was really in the head at that point of time, thinking about the management, thinking about the camera. Also, the camera had a 30 minutes time limit. So I had to make that approach successful in under 30 minutes or none of it is gonna matter. So I approach the girl and just to get out of my head, I say something really obnoxious like, hey, I'm the gay Ted Bundy.
What's your name?
I don't have a name.
You don't have a name.
Ted Bundy.
Ted Bundy.
Would you like to be kidnapped by gay Ted Bundy?
To my surprise, this thing pumps up her emotional state. She's very much interested in the conversation. She starts talking to me and we've reached the sexual hook point where she's sexually interested in me. And this is the point where I try to tell her, hey, why don't you leave with me? But she comes up with several objections.
I can't leave my friends.
And on top of that, I'm living in a preschool. Now, how that happened was we booked an Airbnb, and this Airbnb is supposed to be above a preschool. So I was just going on with all the objections of the woman in my mind, and how should I take her to a preschool? How's she gonna leave in a party dress tomorrow morning? But I still try to go in and I still try to ask her, hey, why don't you come with me? Why don't you leave with me? And then she comes up with her objections. She starts telling me that, hey, I'm with a friend, it's not safe, I have to wake up at 7 a.m. tomorrow. And I realized that all of these are just objections. If I push harder, I might be able to be successful. So I'm pretty sure you've been in a moment where you're out in a bar or a club, you see that attractive woman, you just don't know how to approach her. You just can't gather up the courage to walk up and approach her because you don't know if the approach is going to be successful or is she going to shout at you. Now, if you've been in this kind of a situation or you've done an approach in a bar or a club which did not turn out successful, I would recommend strongly checking out this video, because in this video, I'm going to share with you 6 pointers, 6 steps towards a successful approach. And I'm 100% sure that you might be doing 2 or at least 3 of these wrong, because of which your approaches are not turning out to be successful. Because when you hit the club, it's a very closed environment. You're talking to a girl in close proximity, so she gets to experience you. Step number 1 is all about preparation. It's all about how you focus on your presentability, how you present yourself when you're out in the bar. Are you focusing on your fashion sense, your hygiene, your grooming? Generally, I give myself 1 hour to get ready before the club, which basically means I take a shower, use the right cologne, and for the right cologne, I would recommend using YSL or David of the Game. These 2 perfumes have gotten me the best compliments and the most amount of compliments, so I would strongly recommend you use that as well. Also, wear something nice, wear something casual. My go-to clothing for bars and clubs is polos and chinos, because you cannot go wrong with this. Now remember, you don't really have to look like a model. You don't really need all the expensive brands. It's all about what you put together and how you style it. Now, once you're ready and prepped up for the club, this is where we come to step 2. Because most men, as soon as they reach the venue, they start over-analyzing, they start scanning around, and because of that, their value significantly dips, because women can see them scanning around and they're like vultures looking for praise. Instead, when you reach the place, take a moment, read the room, but do not over-analyze, because the moment you start over-analyzing is the moment your value significantly drops, and you do not want that. What you really need to do is read the room, see what's the energy level of the place. Is it a high energy club or is it a low energy bar? The reason why you need to see this is because you need to adjust your approaches accordingly. Now, step 3, this is the part where you go out and you start interacting with complete strangers, and I will also give you my 4 rules for approaching women in nightclubs or bars. Now, the only 4 rules I use in my own approaches to make sure that each approach is successful. Rule number 1 is making sure that the approach is win-win to the girl's objective. Now that basically means if it's the initial part of the night, maybe it's 9 to 9:30, 9 to 10 p.m., where the girl is just mingling with her friends, she's interacting with a lot of people, her objective is not to stand there and interact with a stranger for half an hour or 45 minutes. So in the initial part of the night, as a rule of thumb, keep your approaches light-hearted, keep it extremely casual, and this is not the time where you actually try to take the girl home. Instead, you try to talk to as many people as you can, have short 5 minutes interactions, and towards the later part of the night when the girl is actually more free and she's more social, that is the point where you actually commit to that particular interaction and you try to take her home or try to get that number. The second rule which I use in my own approaches is one of the oldest rules of the pickup community, which is called the 3-second rule. And the rule is very simple. It basically states that as soon as you see the girl, you do not give your mind the time to think about excuses. Rather than that, you just count 1, 2, 3 and you do the approach even before you count till 3. Now why this rule works for me like a charm is because earlier I had a lot of approach anxiety. I would not be able to approach, I would overanalyze each approach and I would think about the best way of approaching. Now because of this rule, I cut down all that thinking and I would just think about the next step. Hey, it's 1, 2 and 3. Just do that approach. And when I'm really not thinking about these approaches and how to impress the woman, how to get the woman, is the time the approaches are actually getting successful. Now, the third rule I follow in my approaches is called the love framework, and it's a very simple framework which basically means I look at the girl, I observe what she's going through, I verbalize what she's going through, and I empathize with it. Which basically means if I approach a girl and I can sense some discomfort on her face, I would always acknowledge that discomfort. I would show her that I'm socially intelligent and I understand it can be a little strange, a random stranger coming up and complimenting her or talking to her, but I just want to get to know her. And I also empathize what she's going through. This shows her that I'm a socially intelligent guy, I'm not going to do any creepy movements, and she's more open to talk to me. Rule number 4, which is one of the most important rules when it comes to approaching women, is social momentum is king. Now what that basically means is as soon as you reach the location, you do at least 5 to 10 interactions with just giving random compliments to people to get in the social momentum, to get in a social vibe where you're able to talk to girls after that. The approaches that you do after those 5 to 10 approaches are more likely to be successful. Now I want you to see what happens when a complete beginner uses all these rules.
पिकअप तो आई डोंट थिंक मेरे से होगा. आई हैड दैट लिमिटिंग माइंडसेट ना कि इंडिया में लात पड़ेंगे एंड ऑल दैट. Wait, I'll try it. So, one day of night game, this might sound exaggerating or something, but I probably did like 20-25 sets because उस time पे I was like 10 मिनट करूँगा, इसके बाद नहीं करूँगा. So that 15-20 minutes, I just pretty much I opened all. I love your dress. Working around here ki or just
Starting.
okay. So I was just walking by, saw you guys, and I just wanted to say I'm a bit nervous right now, but what are you guys doing right now?
Now step 4 is the conversation itself, and this is where most men get in their heads like, I don't know what to say, I don't know how to impress her, I don't know what to talk about, I have no substance, what do I talk about with the woman? And this is where you lose it because you're not enjoying the present moment, you're constantly thinking about an outcome, you're constantly thinking about impressing her, maybe getting laid, maybe getting a number, and because of that you have so many thoughts in your head, you fail to enjoy the present moment and it kills the soul of the interaction. So if you're just starting to do these approaches, keep it extremely light, keep it extremely casual. Talk about her experiences and relate it with your own experiences so that you can build a sense of relatability and the woman can see that you're just not a guy she met at the bar, but you're an actual human being with an actual life. Step number 5 is reading the signals of each interaction. Now when you're interacting with women, it's very important to gauge their non-verbal communication, which means to read their body language so you can see whether they're actually interested in you or not. Is her feet facing towards you? If her feet are facing towards you, that's generally a positive. If her feet are facing towards the door, which means that she wants to leave. Is she interested in your conversation? Is she leaning in? Is she playing with her hair a lot? Is she smiling on your jokes even if they're not that funny? All of this is an indicator that she's interested in you. Now I literally read 36 books on body language and I've compiled it in a document form so that you can know all the body language when it comes to attraction and when it comes to reading a woman's body language. All you need to do is click the pinned comment and sign up for that PDF. Step 6 is suggesting an after plan. Now this can be an after party, this can be going back to your place, this can be going to a restaurant and having some nice dinner, this can be a coffee as well, but you need to suggest a plan after the club if your conversation is going good. Now this is where most men mess up because they're not able to suggest that plan because they only want to get the number and get out of there. But you need to understand this about night game, nightclubs and meeting women in bars. I learned this from my own experience of approaching women in bars and clubs that numbers at the night time really do not matter or amount to much because the next day, woman is at a different emotional wavelength. She's gonna see that, okay, this guy is texting me from the bar, and if your approaching game is not that strong or you were not able to have a memorable interaction, she's probably not going to text you back. So it's always good to suggest the plan then and there and try to take the girl with you. And if that is not happening for whatsoever reason, maybe she's with her friends, maybe she has to go back, maybe she has work tomorrow, that is when you actually go in for the number. Now, when you do get the number, you do not leave then and there. You have a conversation with her for 4 to 5 minutes more, and then you leave after that because most men, as soon as they get the number, they leave the conversation, and a woman feels that, okay, this guy just wanted my number. He actually doesn't want to get to know me. So don't do this mistake. Get that number, still have a conversation, and then exit that place gracefully. So if you want to learn more about approaching, you want to approach her just like this, and you want me to personally help you with your approaches, click the pinned comment below, schedule a call with my team, and let's see if you're the right fit to work together.